Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Ehlers, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. I have a really different kind of episode today where I'm not bringing you small business, but still bringing you some really important information that affects our community. I am here today with Amanda Bonivert. She is Petaluma City Schools Chief Business Official. She has over 8 years of experience in educational finance and facilities management. She has served at Petaluma City Schools for over a year, overseeing financial strategy and budgeting and ensuring fiscal practices align with educational goals. Throughout her career as a CBO, Amanda has successfully led significant capital projects and managed financial operations across several school districts. She's also the proud parent of 2 children who graduated from high school and attended college in California are currently studying at UC Berkeley, so not too far away. That's nice that they didn't go too far. Amanda's connection to education through her children and her professional dedication drive her passion for creating better educational facilities and opportunities for all students. In addition, her husband is a veteran and a local artist, further enriching her commitment to her community and the arts. And with that, I welcome Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here to help explain the 2 bond measures on the November ballot.
I'm so excited. This is such a relevant time for you to come on. And I also, as a mom of a lot of kids, I am embarrassed to say, I have not been following this as much as I should. So I'm really excited to kind of learn with anybody else today more about what these bond measures are, how they work, all of that. So thank you for coming in.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. So can you explain what school bonds are and how they impact the community, specifically in terms of funding Petaluma schools?
Yes, and I want to start by saying, though I serve as the Chief Business Official for Petaluma City Schools, I am here in a capacity as a community member on the Support Petaluma Bonds program.
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. So the biggest direct benefit for students is the improved learning environment. When schools are updated, modernized classrooms, safer buildings, or access to the latest technology, it can transform how students experience their education. Imagine being in a science lab equipped with state-of-the-art equipment or a classroom with up-to-date technology. It really helps the learning experience. One of the things about Petaluma City Schools specifically is we have some wonderful old historic buildings that if they were to be built today would not stand up to code.
Wow.
We could not build our schools how we have them specifically for technology and science labs. So it's also about making sure that our students have safe access to 21st century learning environment.
Absolutely.
So beyond that, there is a ripple effect in our community. When our schools look great and function well, it reflects positively on our community and our neighborhoods. Families are more likely to move to areas with strong schools, which can help property values and even local businesses.
Absolutely.
So we also, through the Civic Center Act, we do rent out our facilities for community use. So the more enjoying and engaging that our facilities are, people will want to use them in the community.
Absolutely. That's great. So what school bonds are currently on the ballot for this November election?
Great. This is where things in Petaluma can get a little confusing. So Petaluma City Schools actually operates as 2 school districts. So we have our Petaluma City Elementary, which is about 1/3 the size of Petaluma, the city of Petaluma.
Wow.
And on that is Measure Z for $70 million. And Petaluma Joint Union High School District serves all of Petaluma. That's our Mary Collins Charter School and 7th through our adult learning. And that is Measure AA, and that bond is for $159 million.
Got it.
Outside of our 2 local bonds, our district is in support of Proposition 2, which is a state education facilities bond, and it is for $8.5 billion for TK through 12th grade schools and $1.5 billion for community colleges. The great thing about this is taxpayers. This is not paid for out of property taxes.
Oh,
this
interesting.
is a state initiative.
Okay.
And through this, there will be matching funds. So if passed and our bonds are passed and we have a $2 million project, we will have the opportunity to receive back from the state $1 million.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining those. So what specific projects or improvements will the bond funds be used for if they're approved by voters, and how will that enhance the educational experience for students?
Yeah, great question. So if the bond measures are approved, funds will address crucial improvements like modernizing classrooms, upgrading science labs, and replacing outdated portable classrooms with permanent buildings to better accommodate our learners.
Great.
Another thing that the state has implemented over the last few years is transitional kindergarten.
Yeah,
and
huge.
It is huge,
Yeah.
and we have one final year until full implementation. Meaning in July, our littlest learners will still be 3 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
That feels so little.
Yes, because we have year-round schools.
Right.
So the needs of our transitional kindergartners are far different than the needs of our other students. So we're looking at upgrading our facilities that include bathrooms in classrooms
so
and
important.
things like that. Other enhancements, school safety is a priority with updates including upgrades to our fire and earthquake systems, security measures, lighting, fencing, and reconfiguring our entrances. There's also a potential to build a performing arts center. One of the great things about our district is that we have 17 acres of undeveloped land next to Casa Grande High School.
Oh, okay. I
And
can picture right where it is. Yep.
There's so much potential there, and there really has been a lot of talk of need of some sort of gathering and center on the east side of Petaluma. So that is one of the options. Also, we're really looking at making sure that our two comprehensive high schools have equitable access. So is that a new pool at Casa Grande?
That would
because
be
we have a
awesome.
pool at Petaluma High. For our athletics, our sites need black box theaters and gyms as athletics grow. And another big play in this is Title IX in ensuring that we have equitable access for our female athletes as we do for our male athletes.
Awesome. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. So I'm sure, this all sounds so amazing, but many listeners are probably wondering about the financial impact. So how would the approval of these bonds affect local taxpayers, and is there a plan in place to kind of minimize that burden for people?
Yeah. Okay, so the approval of these bonds will result in a tax rate of approximately $30 per $100,000 of assessed property value.
Okay.
And the total would be about $9.1 million annually to taxpayers. The way that we can minimize the financial burden on local taxpayers is that ensure that we have implemented measures to ensure fiscal responsibility, including independent oversight of fund allocations. We will also actively pursue matching funds and other sources of grants to ensure the dollars go longer. One of the differences between a facilities bond and a parcel tax, which we did have on the March election, is that there is not a senior or a disabled exemption to this.
Got it.
People,
Okay.
that's a big question that we get, and that is a state mandate that was not left up to the local authority.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. And when you think about it too, we were mentioning earlier how the better quality schools we have here, property values tend to go up. So can it help offset that a little bit?
Yes.
What steps have been taken to ensure that the bonds are necessary? And could you kind of walk us through that process of the school district, kind of looking at that before they place these bonds on the ballot?
Yes. So deciding to go out for a bond election is a really big deal, and it's something that the school board and the district did not take lightly. We have a current bond that was from 2014, and They anticipated to have it expended at the end of next fiscal year, which really started the conversation of how can we continue to improve our school sites. So throughout this process, we started with a pre-bond facilities planning. Our district currently does not have a facilities master plan, though we are working on one. So we needed to gain information. So the pre-bond planning was a little bit of a quicker process.
Got it.
We held community meetings at each of our school sites, and we also sent out surveys. We had a great response to that. So that showed really what our community thought the need was. We met with each site principal and other administrators and teachers to see what their needs were. And we worked on a by-site plan.
Great.
And the board used that along with, the district did polling to see what the community, what it looked like. Will this pass? Because we don't want to spend the money and the energy putting something on the ballot that may not pass. And we are back in June, we were at a 60% approval, and for a facilities bond, you need 55%.
Okay.
So it was on a positive upturn that we decided to move forward. So in July, the board, through 2 resolutions, elected to go out for the bond, and then those were filed with the county. And once that piece happens on the school district piece, then what you can do is you can send out informational message. You cannot ask voters to say yes, and through that formed a separate committee, which is for Yes for Petaluma Schools.
Okay.
And I happen to be on that committee, and that's really now the committee is the one who works on getting the message out to the voters.
I see.
Yeah.
Got it. Historically, I feel like generally these school bonds tend to go through. It feels like voters generally tend to support them. Would that be pretty accurate?
Yes. And in California specifically, local facilities bonds always do really well.
Great.
I think our community understands the need for them. And the state bonds generally pass, except for in 2020.
Right.
It was unfortunately named Proposition 13.
Right.
And people didn't like that number.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, crazy enough that there is no Proposition 13 on the ballot any longer. So hopefully
that's amazing that affects it.
Yes.
That's really interesting. So have the previous bond measures, including the one that's currently in place, helped improve school facilities, and are there any lessons learned from those experiences?
Yes, I think that there have been a lot of lessons learned. Though we made significant strides in enhancing educational facilities through those bond measures, they focused on modernizing essential infrastructure to support the learning and safety. That what we really learned was we needed more community input.
I love that.
And having we always have a bond oversight committee, but there are other ways to work to get the message out there. And one of the things is through this facilities master plan. It will be a living document that will, and just to back up a little bit, when we did our pre-bond planning, our facilities needs for the district over the next 10 years is $600 million.
Wow.
So even going out for the total, both bonds pass, $229 million is the need is greater than the revenue we will have. So what this will do is it will prioritize what needs to be done and really give the big picture. It will live on the school district website and it will prioritize not only by district but by school to show that each school is receiving equitable access.
Great.
Yeah.
And kind of throwing this at you, is there going to be a bit of a focus on security for all of the schools? I know that's a big concern for a lot of parents.
Yes, so that is something that we've been hearing a lot about through our community meetings. And yes, so we are, if the bond passes, there's very specific language written into the bond, and safety and security is in there. So that will continue to be a conversation.
Great, wonderful. So how does the district ensure accountability and transparency in the use of these funds? So we talked about how it's going to be a live document. Will there also be oversight committees and reports shared with the public?
Yeah, so currently there is a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, which is a volunteer committee made up of 7 community members. Because it is volunteer, it's very hard to get people to be on the committee. We currently have 5 of the 7 seats filled.
So there's a couple
we do have a
seats
couple
if anybody's
vacancies.
listening.
Yes. If you're part of a taxpayer organization or a parent of the high school district. And what that is they look each year to ensure that there is compliance. So we have an independent audit on specifically our bond funds, and then we have our bond plan. And the committee is tasked with ensuring that those two align and match.
Great.
And throughout that, one of the confusing pieces is the committee does not determine how the bond funds will be spent. It's the compliance piece. So the big question is, how do we have a say in how these funds are spent?
Right.
So that is through community meetings, PTA meetings, site council meetings, reaching out to the district and the board, and really through the facilities master plan, all potential projects will go through the board. So that is where the actual decision is made.
Wow. Okay, cool. So there's some openings there.
Yes.
I wish I could tackle that too. So what would happen if the bond measures don't pass? Are there any contingency plans for that?
So one of the unfortunate things about California school funding is we do not receive additional funding for facilities.
Wow.
As part of our annual operating budget, we have to set aside 3% of our general fund for routine restricted maintenance, and that is built into the state's per pupil funding allocation. Outside of that, we have our developer fees or our impact fees, which are levied on new buildings. And if somebody remodels and adds more than 500 square feet, they do pay impact fees to the school for that. Outside of that, those are really the only funding that we have for facilities. In order to qualify for what little state matching funds the state does have, is you have to have your fair share.
Those funds first.
You have to have them.
Got it.
So through our facilities master plan, we also have a deferred maintenance plan. And if we do not receive the bond funds, the focus will be on the deferred maintenance, which will maintain our school sites to the best of our ability, but it will not include building new and modernizing very many facilities. We just do not have the capital to do that.
Right. So this is important that it passes.
Yes.
Basically, summing that up, right?
Yes.
So what's the best way for the community to stay informed and get involved in the discussion around these school bonds before Election Day?
Yeah, this podcast.
Great. Yay, share this, please.
Yeah. And we've also had some community meetings. They can visit our website, which is right here because I wanted to make sure I had it right.
Yes, definitely.
It is www.supportpetalumaschools.com.
Great.
That is where a lot of the information lives. People should be expecting to receive mailers in the next week that will give more information, and just outreach on social media. Our contact information is on our website, and we're happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to go anywhere and speak to anybody who wants to learn more about it.
Great. Just in thinking, because I've attended like a few things in the neighborhood, like if anybody wanted to host, say, an informational evening with neighbors or something like that, would that be something that you'd be open to?
Totally. That would be great. We're also trying to get out to PTA meetings anywhere we are invited.
Great point.
I think getting the message out there, the bonds are large. I mean, it is a lot of money and there is a lot of potential. So there are so many great things that is written into the bond language that we can do with the money, and it's just explaining to people and getting the message out there.
Great. That's super helpful. So is there anything I may have missed that you wanted to make sure listeners heard or understood?
Yeah, I think just looking through my notes real quick to
absolutely.
see if, we touched on the laboratory, furniture and equipment, safety upgrades, infrastructure improvements. It's really about just enhancing the learning experience for all of our learners. We're lucky enough in Petaluma City Schools, our South County Consortium, which operates under our elementary district, starts at preschool. And we have an adult transition program through age 22 at our high school, and then we have the adult school. So there is nobody, everybody
can benefit
from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just ask the questions if you need clarification and though we do know that this is a financial impact on all of our homeowners, there are so many benefits, and really, as we spend down the current bond funds that voters so graciously approved in 2014, once those are gone, if we don't pass this bond, there will be no more bond funds. So all of this lovely building and infrastructure that the community is used to seeing will actually go away.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, super important. Everybody get out on election day.
Yes.
Or early ballot.
Yes.
I gotta fill mine out. I got mine and it's sitting on the counter like staring at me like, fill me out.
I know, mine too. It's it's so important.
It is so important.
There are so many measures
Yes.
On this ballot.
Super important.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you shared your website where people can find you. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. And you mentioned you're on social media as well. Wonderful.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Amanda, and kind of getting us all in the loop about this so that we're paying attention.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you for listening. Please share this episode, especially before Election Day.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.